I'm quitting my job, you'll support us while I find myself, my sister texted. I replied, not my problem, and accepted a job overseas starting Monday. 10 minutes later, Mom wrote. Banned from Thanksgiving until you sign your sister's $100,000 loan. That night, I reviewed my accounts and removed shared payments in my name. 32 missed calls. I was brushing my teeth, getting ready for another ordinary Wednesday at Henderson Supply Chain, when my phone lit up with a text from my younger sister, Jessica. The toothpaste foam was still in my mouth when I read it. I'm quitting my job. You'll support us while I find myself. No question mark. No please. Just the bold assumption that had defined our relationship for 30 years. I rinsed, looked at my reflection, sleep-creased face, ordinary hazel eyes, the kind of person who blends into conference rooms and family photos, and typed back with steady thumbs. Not my problem. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm the older sister, the responsible one, the human Swiss Army knife my family reaches for when life gets complicated. If you ask them, they'd say I'm good with money and reliable. If you asked me, I'd say I'm tired of being everyone's safety net. My younger sister Jessica is the golden child. Always has been. Different rules, different consequences. Same house, but two completely different realities. When we were kids, I mowed lawns for spending money while she got surprise shopping trips for being creative. In college, I worked at the campus bookstore to pay for textbooks while she got a brand new MacBook Pro for her studies. That pattern never stopped. It just learned to wear bigger price tags and better excuses. I work in supply chain management for Henderson Supply Chain in Chicago. It's not glamorous. I track shipments, optimize routes, make sure things arrive when they're supposed to. I like numbers that balance, deadlines that mean something, problems that have actual solutions. My life fits in spreadsheets. My family lives in group chats and emotional emergencies. Within 60 seconds of my reply, the notifications started flooding in. Mom. Call me right now. Jessica. Are you serious? Even Jessica's boyfriend, Brandon, chimed in with a not cool ass. The London opportunity was still open on my laptop. Henderson's European expansion. 12 months, housing stipend, substantial raise. I'd been sitting on the offer for 3 weeks, paralyzed by the invisible chains that keep the responsible child tethered to home. I scrolled to the bottom of the email and clicked accept. Start date. Monday. Flight booked. Apartment arranged. It felt like finally putting a dish back where it belonged instead of leaving it on someone else's counter. 8 minutes after accepting the job, Mom sent the nuclear option in all caps. Banned from Thanksgiving until you sign Jessica's $100,000 loan. I actually laughed. A small, private sound I hadn't made in years. It sounded like relief wearing a cheap disguise. Because that text told me everything I needed to know about how this was going to play out. And for once, I wasn't going to be the one left holding the bill, the loan. The studio. The business opportunity. That was really just another way to make my bank account the solution to Jessica's latest dream. I could see the whole script already written, with my signature as the final scene. Not this time. The money trap didn't spring overnight. It started small, the way quicksand does. One innocent step, then another, until you're waist deep and wondering how the solid ground disappeared. It began with just put it on your card, we'll settle up later. First time was a family phone plan supposedly temporary. Mom said 1 year. 1 became 5. $240 a month, every month, straight from my account, then streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify all under my account because you're so organized with these things. Add another $50 monthly, then came can you add Jessica to your car insurance? Just until she finds something better. That temporary arrangement cost me an extra $130 every month for 3 years. I told myself it was fine. I could afford it. It kept the peace, and peace was worth something, right? After college, I stayed home 2 extra years while Dad's contracting hours got cut. I paid half the mortgage, temporarily. Temporary became 18 months. When I finally moved to my apartment in Lincoln Park, I left my name on utilities because the autopay is already set up. We'll switch it next month, Mom promised. Next month got bumped by birthdays, by Grandma Helen's knee surgery, by we're just so busy right now, honey. I kept a list on my phone. Dates, amounts, confirmation numbers. It looked like any normal person's notes app, but it was really an archaeological record of how boundaries disappear when you keep stepping over them. Meanwhile, Jessica tried things. A photography course she never finished. A life coach certification that cost $3,200 and lasted 4 months. A food blog that needed just a small investment to get off the ground. I loaned her $600 for equipment once. Then $1,400 when the blog idea pivoted to podcasting. Then $2,300 when podcasting became a wellness brand she'd pursue once Mercury comes out of retrograde. Somehow, every car repair became my problem because I'd borrowed her Toyota Camry that one time last winter. Every utility disconnect notice became urgent family business because my credit was still tied to accounts I'd forgotten I'd guaranteed. Jessica called money energy. I called it rent and groceries. And the reason my own dreams stayed locked in a savings account I was afraid to touch. Why didn't I push back harder? Mom's magic phrase. It's just small things, Sarah. Family helps family. When I sent Venmo requests with friendly messages like, "Hey, can you tackle this when you get a chance?" Jessica would reply with heart emojis and no money. "Don't be so transactional," she'd say in person. It's weird. Dad's line was always, "Family is family." It all evens out eventually. It never did. It just got more organized, more systemic, like a subscription service for guilt. The first time I heard $100,000, it wasn't in a text message. It was printed in neat columns in a manila folder Mom slid across our kitchen table like she was handing me a college brochure. Jessica's opening a wellness studio, she announced over Sunday pot roast, her voice carrying that careful enthusiasm she used for Jessica's projects. There's a whole business plan. She just needs a cosigner to unlock better loan terms. Cosigner. I set down my fork and stared at the folder. Inside were printouts, lease agreements for a space in Wicker Park, equipment catalogs, a cash flow projection that looked more like wishful thinking than math. "It's just your name on paper," Dad added, not meeting my eyes. "Shows the bank you believe in her." "It shows I'm legally responsible for 6 figures," I said. Jessica twirled her blonde hair around one finger, a habit from childhood that used to be endearing. "It's not that deep, Sarah. You worry about everything. $100,000 is exactly that deep. It's an investment in family," Mom said, her tone shifting to the steel-wrapped in velvet voice she used when discussion time was over. "We'd do it for you." They wouldn't. They never had. When I needed a laptop for college, I worked double shifts at Target. When my car died senior year, I took the bus for 6 months until I could afford a used Honda. When I wanted to take that digital marketing certification course, I saved up for 8 months and paid cash. I closed the folder and pushed it back across the table. "I love you, Jessica, but I can't co-sign this." She rolled her eyes like I'd refused to share my dessert. "God, you're so uptight about money. It's just paper." That night, Mom called crying. Dad called and didn't say much, just breathed disappointment into the phone. My Aunt Linda sent a voice note about supporting your sister's dreams and abundance mindset. Jessica posted an Instagram story about financial boundaries being trauma responses, complete with a quote from some wellness blogger about siblings who hoard resources. Brandon texted me a thumbs down emoji. Classy. I put my phone face down and stared at the ceiling fan making slow circles in the dark. The London email sat in my inbox like a door cracked open. Cool air flowing through from somewhere else. Somewhere that didn't revolve around my ability to pay for other people's choices. The Real ask was coming. I could feel it building like pressure before a storm. It arrived exactly when I knew it would. After Jessica had already quit her job at the dental office. After she'd already committed to lease agreements and equipment orders. After every bridge was burned except the one leading straight to my bank account. "I'm quitting my job. You'll support us while I find myself." The certainty was about to meet reality. Within minutes of my "not my problem" text, my phone became a handheld war zone. The family group chat exploded like a digital firework, each message more frantic than the last. "Mom. Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, you call me this instant." "Dad. What's gotten into you?" "Jessica. I can't believe you're abandoning me like this." "Brandon. Really showing your true colors here." Even my cousin Amy chimed in from Minneapolis. "Heard about the drama. You okay?" I wasn't okay. I was something better. I was finally awake. The London acceptance email was already sent. The apartment keys would be waiting. And for the first time in my adult life, I was about to live somewhere that my family couldn't reach through my wallet. 10 minutes after I hit accept on the job offer, Mom deployed the nuclear option. Banned from Thanksgiving until you sign Jessica's $100,000 loan. I screenshotted it. Not to shame her, but to remind myself later that this was the moment she made it clear. My presence at family gatherings was conditional on my financial utility. Love came with a price tag, and the bill was due. The phone call started immediately. FaceTime from Dad first. I could see the kitchen behind him, the refrigerator calendar with everyone's schedules color-coded except mine. They were on speaker. "You need to apologize to your sister," Mom said without preamble. "No," I said. "What do you mean, no?" Her voice climbed that familiar octave that used to make me cave. "I mean no. I won't be supporting two adults. I won't be co-signing anything. I won't be liable for six figures because you're all pretending feelings can replace financial planning." Dad leaned toward the camera. "Watch your tone, Sarah." "My tone is calm. It's going to stay calm." That's when Jessica burst into frame, mascara already smudged in a way that looked too perfect to be accidental. "You're so selfish. You're punishing me for being different." "I'm not punishing you. I'm drawing a line. You've never believed in me," she said, and I could hear Brandon coaching her from off camera. "I believed in you when I paid for your photography equipment," I said evenly. "When I covered your car insurance for 3 years. When I paid for your life coach certification. When I sat through 4 different launch parties for businesses you'd abandoned by the following month." She sucked in her breath like I'd slapped her. "You're keeping score?" "Yes. Because I'm the one paying the bills." Mom tried a different angle, her voice dropping to that dangerous quiet tone. "If you leave for London now, you're abandoning this family. I leave Monday for work. Not for spite." "Oh, she thinks she's better than us now," Jessica said, tearful and theatrical. I stood straighter, used my conference call voice, clear, professional, unshakable. "This isn't about superiority. It's about boundaries. This isn't about revenge. It's about refusing to be leveraged with love." The silence stretched long enough for me to hear the dishwasher running in their kitchen. The same GE model that had been there since I was 12. The one I'd helped Dad install when the old one died and money was tight. Then they all started talking at once. Mom with guilt. Dad with volume. Jessica with accusations. Brandon with bro, that's harsh from somewhere off screen. I didn't raise my voice. I repeated myself like company policy. "I'm not your cosigner. I'm not your salary. I'm not your emergency fund." Dad jabbed a finger at the screen. "You'll regret this." I already regret not doing it sooner. I ended the call and set the phone on the counter like it was made of hot glass. That night, I did what I should have done years ago. I opened every account that had someone else's name attached and started cutting strings like I was defusing a bomb. Because that's what it was. A financial explosive that had been ticking in my life, waiting for the moment when I couldn't afford to keep everyone else's choices from blowing up. Phone plan first. The system warned me 3 times that removing Jessica and Mom would terminate their service. I clicked confirm each time. Monthly savings, $240. Car insurance next. Removed Jessica from my policy, effective midnight. New premium dropped back to what it should have been all along. Savings, $130. Streaming services. Changed every password. The TV in their living room would go dark mid-episode of whatever reality show they were binge-watching. $50 back in my pocket every month. Utilities were trickier. My name was still on the autopay for their house, a leftover from those 2 years I'd helped with the mortgage. I switched the next payment to manual, removed my card, and sent Dad an email with the subject line. Transfer by Friday. Clear, boring, true. Then came the big one. I moved my emergency fund, $19,200 I'd been hoarding for 6 years, into a new bank they didn't know existed. Set up alerts. Froze my credit. Requested new cards for everything. If someone tried to use my name for a loan application, I'd know within minutes. I made a spreadsheet called Exit Strategy. Each row was a rope I'd tied around myself to keep someone else's ship from drifting. By the time I finished, it was 1:30 a.m., and my phone showed 32 missed calls. The voicemails came in waves. First angry mom's voice tight with rage, demanding I call back immediately. Then pleading, Jessica crying that I was destroying her dreams. Then the quiet, seething ones where Dad breathed disappointment into the microphone like he wanted me to feel his anger through the speaker. At 11:47 p.m., Aunt Linda texted. "Sweetie, can we talk? This isn't like you." I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Linda was the kind one, the peacekeeper. But in my family, kindness often came with a clipboard and a list of things I needed to do to make everyone else comfortable. I put the phone in my bedroom drawer and slept better than I had in months. Morning brought 47 missed calls. The group chat had 198 unread messages. Brandon had written 3 paragraphs about toxic individualism and family loyalty. Jessica had posted a photo of her and Brandon's golden retriever with a caption about nervous systems and chosen family. Mom had shared a meme about ungrateful children. I made coffee, packed a suitcase, and took down my whiteboard calendar from the kitchen wall. Wiped it clean with Windex, watching months of other people's obligations disappear. At noon, Dad showed up at my apartment. Pounded on the door like a cop with a warrant. Called my name like I was a teenager who'd missed curfew. I let him knock. After 20 minutes, he left. A minute later. "Coward." I texted back, "Boundaries." He replied. "You think words protect you?" I typed and deleted 5 different responses, then sent, "No. Policies do." The loan deadline was 5 p.m. that day. At 3:30, Jessica sent a photo of the bank contract, all official letterhead and signature lines. "We need your signature by 5, she wrote. "The bank closes at 6. I replied. "Read the section about joint and several liability." Then read it again. "You don't love me," came back immediately. "I love you enough not to let you drown us both. I love you enough to stop pretending money is just energy." She sent a voice message. I didn't play it. Then. "Cooper misses you." I stared at that text and felt something twist in my chest. I didn't even like that dog, but I loved my future more. "Love is not a payment plan," I typed back. Monday morning arrived gray and cold, with Chicago's signature wind painting my apartment windows. I woke up at 5 a.m. not to notifications and emergency calls, but to my own alarm clock. The silence felt strange, like wearing new shoes. Awkward at first, then surprisingly comfortable. My phone had gone quiet around midnight. Either they'd given up or moved their crisis management to a group chat that didn't include me. Both options felt like victory. The train to O'Hare International hummed through neighborhoods I'd probably never see again. Lincoln Park, the industrial district, then the long stretch past strip malls and storage facilities toward the airport. Each mile felt like shedding an old skin. At check-in, the counter agent looked at my passport, looked at me, and smiled. "London. How exciting. Business or pleasure?" "New life," I said, and we both laughed. Security. Gate M9. Boarding group 2. Everything exactly as it should be. No last-minute emergencies, no desperate calls needing me to miss my flight for someone else's crisis. My phone stayed quiet in my bag, a small black rectangle that used to rule my life and now felt like just another thing I carried. Seat 24A. Window. I watched Chicago shrink beneath the clouds and felt something I hadn't experienced in years, the complete absence of dread. No wondering what financial emergency would be waiting when I landed. No mental calculations about which bill I could delay to cover someone else's mistake. The flight attendant brought me a tiny bottle of wine with dinner. "To new adventures," she said when she saw me toasting alone. "To old patterns finally dying," I said quietly. London welcomed me with rain and an accent I had to concentrate to understand. The company apartment was small, clean, exactly as promised. 1 bedroom, 1 responsibility, 1 name on the lease. I unplugged my phone and left it in a drawer for 3 days. When I finally powered it back on, there were messages. Mom alternating between fury and guilt. Jessica posting Instagram stories about financial abuse and family trauma. Brandon calling me toxic in a text clearly meant for someone else but sent to me by mistake. And then, at the bottom, something unexpected. A text from my college roommate, Natalie. Heard through the Chicago grapevine. You made a big move. Proud of you. Always knew you had it in you to put yourself first. I screenshotted that message and made it my phone wallpaper. Henderson Supply Chain London turned out to be everything I'd hoped for but been too afraid to want. My supervisor, James, was British efficient, clear expectations, reasonable deadlines, no drama. My coworkers were friendly without being invasive. Nobody asked to borrow money or wondered why I hadn't co-signed their dreams. I worked on shipping schedules and route optimization. Clean problems with mathematical solutions. At 5:30, I walked home along the Thames and cooked dinner for one person who ate all of it. 3 weeks in, my credit monitoring app sent an alert. New inquiry blocked. Someone attempted to use your information for a loan application. I smiled at my tiny kitchen window and watered the succulent I'd bought because it looked lonely. That evening, I opened my notes app and looked at the old list, all those dates and amounts, the breadcrumb trail of boundaries slowly dissolving. I scrolled to the bottom and added new lines. I will not co-sign chaos. I will not be leveraged with love. I will not call financial abuse helping family. I will not trade peace for access. I will not apologize for keeping what I earn. I will not be the plan. Then I wrote the most important line, the one that would keep all the others from crumbling when the soft manipulation started up again. I will love you without paying for you. My first Thanksgiving in London arrived grey and ordinary. Just another Thursday in a city that doesn't pause for American traditions. I woke up in my own bed, in my own apartment, with exactly 0 people expecting me to cover their bills or co-sign their dreams. The absence of obligation felt like flying. I FaceTimed Natalie at what was 8 a.m. London time, 3 a.m. Chicago time. She was up feeding her new baby, looking exhausted and happy in her kitchen in Denver. How's exile treating you? She asked, bouncing little Oliver on her shoulder. Turns out it's not exile when you choose it, I said. It's just living. I'd made myself a small feast. Roast chicken, because whole turkeys are apparently a commitment even European grocery stores aren't ready for. Roasted potatoes with rosemary. Green beans I bought at the farmer's market near Covent Garden. Simple, perfect, sized for one person who was going to eat every bite without calculating who owed what portion. My phone had been mercifully quiet for 3 days. Then at 2 p.m. London time, right when Thanksgiving dinner would be starting at Aunt Linda's house in Naperville, a text arrived from Mom. Hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long time. 6 months ago, that message would have sent me into a guilt spiral. I would have called immediately, apologized for existing, maybe even offered to wire money for whatever crisis had inevitably erupted. Instead, I typed back. I am. I hope you find what makes you happy too. She didn't reply. That felt like its own kind of holiday. That evening, I opened my laptop and did something I'd been avoiding. I looked up Jessica's Instagram. The wellness studio had never materialized. Instead, there were posts about pivoting energy and following intuitive guidance and a GoFundMe for something called Jessica's Healing Journey with exactly $53 raised from 4 donors. Brandon was still in the picture, still wearing beanies indoors, still posting motivational quotes about abundance and manifestation. They'd moved back in with Mom and Dad. The golden retriever looked happy enough. I closed the laptop and poured myself a glass of wine, not in celebration, not in sadness, just because I wanted wine and could afford to buy good wine with money that was mine to spend. My London life had found its rhythm. Work that ended at reasonable hours. Colleagues who didn't ask personal questions. A salary that stayed in my own account. I joined a book club that met on Wednesdays, started taking an Italian cooking class on Tuesday evenings, bought a bike to ride along the canal on Sunday mornings. For the first time in my adult life, my calendar belonged to me. At 9 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown London number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Sarah, this is Claire from Henderson HR. Sorry to call so late, but I wanted to give you the good news personally. The board approved your transfer to permanent status, full relocation package, visa sponsorship, the works. You've made quite an impression these past few months. After she hung up, I sat in my small living room and felt something I'd almost forgotten existed, the quiet satisfaction of being valued for what I brought to the table, not what I could be talked into paying for. I pulled out my phone and sent 3 texts. To Natalie. Got permanent status in London. Officially an expat now. To my former Chicago landlord, please donate anything left in storage to Goodwill. Thanks for everything. To Jessica, heard the studio didn't work out. I still love you. I still won't fund your searches for yourself. Only Natalie replied. So proud of you. That night, I made a final entry in my notes app, below all the boundaries I'd written and the promises I'd made to myself. People think cutting family ties is about anger. It's not. It's about refusing to confuse being needed with being loved. It's about declining to be a credit card with feelings. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 31 years old. I live in London, England. I earn my own money and spend it on my own choices. I love my family enough to let them learn to solve their own problems. This isn't a tragic ending. It's a beginning. I turned off the lights and looked out my window at the city lights reflecting on the Thames. Tomorrow I would wake up and go to work where people valued my skills, not my willingness to be financially exploited. I would come home to an apartment where nobody could reach me with their hand out and their dreams on my credit report. I wasn't banned from anything that mattered. I was finally free.